Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the Leaf Garden. In this video, I will be transplanting the remaining of the super hot chili plants that I have hardened off already into my raised bed number 2. So I've mentioned in many of my previous videos that this year I'm gonna try growing super hot chilies in ground. That's why I've prepared this raised bed during the autumn, I think end of November, where I've put use some railway sleepers 1.2 meter by 2.4 meter and each to make this raised bed. The length of this raised bed is actually longer because I've for the length I've actually put 2 railway sleepers. In feet is 4 feet by 16 feet in area, so I can fit quite a lot of chili plants in here. I plan to space the chili plants sufficiently so that I have about 2 feet of space between each plant. Just I know that super hot chili plants can get quite large. Of course, I haven't grown super hot chili plants in ground before, so I don't know how they will react being in the ground, but I want to give them enough space. And of course, I will be interplanting using the space that are left in between the plants to grow something else as well. But initially I want to space my chili plants about 2 feet apart. So that's what today's video is going to cover. I'm going to transplant my super hot chili plants, different varieties that I'm growing, into this raised bed number 2. In terms of bed preparation, when I prepared this the ground, I've actually put a layer of cardboard, and then on top of the cardboard I have put about 2 to 3 inches of mushroom compost, and that was done again around end of October, November. So hopefully the cardboard has decomposed now, and I think it has, because I am growing successfully the lettuce that you can see here and the spinach, so I know that the cardboard is gone now. So the reason for putting the cardboard was that to suppress any weeds. I will still have perennial weeds coming through that I will have to keep clearing, but the beds in general looking quite nice in compared to the other raised beds that are prepared. So yeah, I will, as I said, I will be trying to transplant the super hot chili varieties, super hot chili variety plants in here. I am thinking to keep some space at the back just by the fence panel for Uri, just because I can direct those hyacinth beans plants on the fence, so that they can climb up on the fence. That's why I want to make use of the fence behind me. So that's the idea. Okay, so let's get transplanting. Here I have my super hot chili plants. I have quite a few variety, and if you've been watching my previous videos, you will know that I'm growing probably more than 12 varieties of super hot chili plants this year. I am keeping some for container that I've already transplanted into the container, and the remaining of my super hot chili plants are going into the raised bed 2 just here. So yeah, the plants are looking quite nice. They're still into this I would say 4-inch pot, and the leaves are starting to go a little bit yellowish because I haven't been using the liquid feeds recently, because I try to avoid using synthetic fertilizers as much as I can. So that's why, but they should recover and go green once the plants are in the ground and have sufficient time to recover. So when transplanting, I like to keep things as simple as possible. As you've seen, I will only be using some fish blood and bone just below the root zone, so that the plant has some available energy just after the transplant to recover from it. And then on the top, what happened, Baba? Look, say hello. And once the transplant is done, I will then. No, Baba, Baba video program. No, তুমি অনেক করো গাড়ি চালাও যাও গাড়ি চালাও. Yeah, once the transplant is done, I will basically top dress using some chicken manure pellet, and that will be it basically. And then I will put some sort of support in so that the plants doesn't get destroyed by the wind. I did um, choose this bed for my chili plants because it is one of the raised beds that is next to the the fence and the wall as well, brick wall. So I have some sort of protection. I think this bed is actually protected well in comparison to the other raised bed that I have, but there is still wind can be felt by the plants that are in this bed, and I have learned that, and I will show you maybe later on what sort of damage can wind do to your plants. All right, so let's get going. So I'm using this kind of like scrap piece of wood uh, to measure because I've put some labels in for 1 feet and 60 and 16 inch, so I have rough idea as to how far apart I'm putting the plants in. So I'll just using this. I'll be using this stick as a guide. The other thing is, I think I mentioned in the previous video that I will be taking these lettuces when I will be transplanting the chili plants. But looking at the health of this lettuce, I just can't take this of this bed yet because they just look so healthy. So I'm just gonna leave this for now, and I can see that they're starting to form lettuce heart as well. So yeah, as I said, I'm gonna leave this in the bed, and I'm gonna do the transplant around on the other side of these lettuces. So what I'm gonna do is basically show you the root ball. It's looking really nice. You can see how well built these root structures are. I'm gonna just ever slightly disturb the root ball so that they can find their way into the ground much more easier. Right, so that's one of my chili plants has been planted, and I'm just going to keep the pot next to it because it has the label in, just so that I know which variety it was. And I'm going to come back later on with proper labels and put the labels next to the plants. So there you go, just dug a hole. Going to put a handful of fish blood and bone to it and do some mixing. One thing I try to do when I'm doing transplanting in ground is to minimize soil disturbance as much as possible, because I think that where we need to keep more focus on in terms of keeping the soil. When I mean traditional is like, when you to do, to grow plants and crops, and I think this our understanding in this area is now broadening, and we know a little bit better in terms of the microbiology and the life in the soil. So yeah, try to go, look up, do your own research, and try to find out the benefit of tilling versus no till, or digging versus no digging, no dig raised beds, and see the differences in that area. So transplanting my super hot chili plants to my raised bed 2 is now complete, and yeah, you've seen the process. What I essentially do is dig a hole, put some fish blood and bone, mix that in, put the plants in, and then backfill using the soil that I dug up, and then I add some chicken manure pellet on top, and cover the chicken manure pellet using fresh compost if I have it available. If not, it's not something that you'll have to you need to do. Is I just top it up just to provide additional nutrient. So I've planted several variety in this raised bed. I've done transplanting of around probably 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11, about 15 plants in here today, but I did do some more transplanting on the 8th of May, and let me just show you how they are looking. So these are some of those plants here. They've been already in the ground, transplanted about 2 weeks, and I'm sure I've mentioned in other videos that I do harden off my plants, and these chili plants I've been hardening off for probably 3 weeks on and off, putting it in the greenhouse outside, and then I made sure that they were hardened off. But even with 2 weeks hardened off, you can see some of the wind burn that are in the plant. So it's not just the sun that you have to worry about. You will also have to take into consideration the wind damage that your plant's going to get. So let me just show you up close how the plants looks, that the plants that I have transplanted a couple of weeks back. So here, one of the plants that I've transplanted a couple of weeks back, and you can see some sunburn and as well as windburn in these plants as well in here. So these are windburn, but they are starting to recover. I can see new leaves forming that are much more tougher. I love you so much. And same story with these ones as well. So yeah, again, more windburn on these plants, but the newer leaves that are coming up, they're looking good. So yeah, just bear in mind that even if you harden off your plants after the transplant, whether it's to in ground or to container, they can still get damage from other element, not just sun but also wind. So unfortunately, right after the transplant of these plants in this raised bed on the 8th of May, we had a couple of days of quite heavy wind, and that's why these damage, but they are looking just fine. It's just that they have set back probably a few weeks, but they will recover. So in terms of the plants that I've transplanted today, there you go. So I've started on this side. Roughly I kept about 2 feet of distance between the plants, so I have put 2 on either side and then 1 in the middle, and they are looking really good. So this bed is now starting to fill up, and these spaces in between I will be interplanting with some more leafy greens maybe. Thank you, Ahil. The transplanting all of my super hot chilies to my raised bed number 2 is complete, and I hope you've learned something from this video, and you've enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and also share the video, and I will be keeping you updated as to how these plants are doing over the season. So please hit the bell button as well, so that whenever I upload the video you'll get notified. So that is it for today, guys. I see you in the next one. Assalamu alaikum.